welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil
I'm
Diop,
Andio.
and we are back again for some action here with UFC Vegas 103. It's Manel Kape against Asu Almabayev. We're going to talk about our early predictions for the prelims here, and we're going to go through the prelims now and start it off with Charles Johnson versus Ramazan Temirov. Then we have Montana De La Rosa versus Luana Carolina. Then we got Lucas Almeida versus Danny Silva. Then we got Andrea Lee versus JJ Aldrich. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Then we got Douglas Silva DeAndrade versus John Castaneda. And then the main event of the prelims is Ricardo Ramos versus Chepe Mariscal. All right, so let's get it started, man. Last week we did pretty good. Andy O, your back must be hurting. You held it down for the channel with going 9-3 in the predictions. I went 8-4, so it was pretty good. Let's keep it going. Let's hope that we kill it again this week. All right, so the first fight of the card, we got Charles Johnson against Ramazanbek Temirov. Who you got here, Andy O?
All right. This is going to be a pretty good fight, I think, to open up the prelims here. I got to lean with Charles Johnson here, man. Like before in the past, I always expected more from him, but now he seems to really, he's on a winning streak. You know, he beat 4 guys in a row. He actually got a knockout, which I wasn't expecting against Joshua Van a couple of fights ago. And I think he's going to do his thing in there by trying to keep it on the feet, trying obviously to fend off those takedowns and to have more volume in the end. I think he's craftier on the feet. He's more of the vet in this fight, that's for sure. And I don't think he has as much power as Temirov. And the thing I worry about is Timirov's wrestling, if he can get that going and manage to control Johnson on top before Johnson gets going a little later in the fight, as has been normal for Charles Johnson. But I think he's going to get it done. Charles Johnson is pretty squirmy down there. He tends to get up off of most guys when he does get taken down. And yeah, man, I have to lean Charles Johnson here. What about you, man?
Nice one, man. So yeah, for this fight here, this is going to be a close fight. Like, this looks like one of those fights that's going to be very close. It's going to go down to the decision, I think.
Yeah, I think we're going back to decision for this one.
And it's going to be a close fight because Ramazanbek Temirov is a very good fighter, man. This guy has been looking really good in the regional scene. He's knocking everybody out. But the only thing is that the guys that he's knocking out are very low level fighters. Like, these are guys that are, like, you know, in the regional scene in Ryzen and other promotions. And I saw him knock out a couple of Asian guys in the Ryzen promotions. Looked really good there. Then he started his first fight in the UFC against CJ Vergara and got that knockout. So he's got the power. Definitely got power in his punches. I watched his fights, man. He throws very wild punches at times. Most of his punches are like right hooks, left hooks, very few straight jabs. But he comes at you very quickly. He's very fast, and he throws strikes like a maniac. He just comes out there and throws punches and goes crazy. He leaves himself open, so he could be countered. I know Charles Johnson is pretty good at countering. But the knockout power is definitely there. I never really watched him grapple that much in his fights, but he does have some grappling for sure. But Charles Johnson is a veteran, man. This guy is on a tear here. He's been on a winning streak, and he's been beating guys up himself, and he's doing pretty good at it. You know, Ramazanbek Temirov is still very green, man. He's like, you know, hasn't fought much in the UFC. And one of the big things is that Charles Johnson is going to be a huge, bigger guy in this fight, man. Topology has it at 5'4" to 5'9". Sherdog here we have 5'5" to 5'9". So it's about a 4 or 5 inch height advantage for Charles Johnson. Not to mention a significant, this is the really significant part, it's a 7-inch reach advantage for Charles Johnson. So he's going to be the bigger guy in there, taller, lengthier, big with the reach advantage. He's also very good at boxing. Charles Johnson can scramble, and he's also good on the ground. He's good at getting takedowns as well, and also good at grappling. He's never been finished, so I could see the durability of Charles Johnson is there. It's going to be hard for Temerov to get a knockout. I'm also going for Charles Johnson to win this one. I just think that he's just a little too good for Ramazan Bektemirov. I think that the height advantage, the reach advantage, the experience in the UFC, fought the better level fighters, of course, in the UFC, and he's been doing well. So yeah, Charles Johnson to win is the pick here. I think he wins this one by knockout or decision. I don't think that he subs Ramazan Bektemirov, because Ramazan Bektemirov is good on the ground, but he's been subbed before. He has one submission loss and 2 decision losses. So you never know. You never know. Charles Johnson could, if he gets tired, if Temerov gets tired from throwing all those punches and stuff, although he has good cardio for being a younger guy there, I've seen his fights, he does go 3 rounds and he's got good gas tank. So I'll go with KO or decision if Charles Johnson catches it with something nicely or just wins a decision based on not being able to land as many punches because of the reach.
Charles Johnson is hard to hit clean too, though, I find. And
because he's going to be so much taller too, it's going to be harder for Temerov to land the accurate punches to his face. And so for those reasons, I like Charles Johnson to get this win here.
Temerov hits to the body as well, so he's got to be aware of where those punches are going, because Temerov is not a pure headhunter, So
yeah,
Charles Johnson for decision. Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man. I like Charles Johnson in this one as well. All right, so we're in agreement with the first fight of the prelims. Let's move on up to the next fight here. All right, so we got Montana De La Rosa against Luana Carolina. For this one here, man, I got to go Luana Carolina. Montana De La Rosa is a good fighter, but she's not going to be the bigger fighter in this one. She's going to be the same height as Luana Carolina. The reach is the same for both these girls. Montana De La Rosa did not look very good she's lost 3 of her last 5 fights. Lost the unanimous decision to Macy Barber. Got subbed by Tatiana Suarez. And also lost a unanimous decision to JJ Aldrich, who's also going to be in this card. And then recently got a win over Andrea Lee. That was her last win. It was a split decision, so it was very, very close. Some say that Andrea Lee would have won that one.
It was surprising to me, actually, looking back at her recent record, to see the quality of opposition she's faced, in Tatiana Suarez and Barber, right? At least.
Yeah. Luana Carolina been on a winning streak, a 3-fight winning streak, getting wins over Lucy Pudilova in her last fight by unanimous decision, and then Julia Stoliarenko, who's a very good grappler and submission specialist, and also getting the win over Ivana Petrovic. She also knocked out Molly McCann a while back, she got knocked out by Molly McCann a while back, but that was a spinning back elbow. It was a pretty crazy one there. She was looking good in that fight until that happened. Luana Carolina's good on the feet, very good at punching, and very good at boxing. Montana De La Rosa mostly tries to get you down to the ground. She's more of a submission specialist. As you can see there, she's got 8 submissions out of her 13 wins, 4 decisions. So she has no punching power at all. She throws very, low amounts of punches. So her volume's not all there. What she normally tries to do is tries to grapple and tries to wrestle and get her opponents down on the ground. Luana Carolina has very good takedown defense. I think she's going to be able to stuff the takedowns from Montana De La Rosa. I think she's going to, by stuffing those takedowns, she'll land more punches. I think she's the better puncher, the better boxer in this fight for sure. And I can see her outpointing Montana De La Rosa. Montana De La Rosa getting frustrated, not being able to get those takedowns, getting hit by Luana Carolina's punches and kicks. And Luana Carolina can also get some takedowns too. She's been working on that part of her game. So I could see Luana Carolina actually getting down Montana De La Rosa to the ground even. So I like Luana Carolina winning by KO or decision in this one. I think she's just a little bit better than De La Rosa, man.
Yeah, I hope she's worked out on her takedown defense because that's what De La Rosa is going to have to do in this fight. She's gonna be working to take her down and working to control her once she's there. But yeah, me too, man. I like Carolina's striking. I think she'll do some good work in that Muay Thai clinch if it gets there. Beat her up there a little bit. And man, with Montana De La Rosa, she's getting to that point. Those losses come from somewhere, right? And I think Carolina has more of an upside here. Although she's not that old, Montana De La Rosa.
Yeah, she's 30 and Luana's 31. So they're
Yeah, uh, about this. I'm going to here. I'm going to go with Atlantic Carolina. Also, she has a nice and just stay off your back. Really, that's it for her. So yeah, Carolina by decision.
all right. We're in agreement with that one there. Both going with Luana Carolina. All right, two for two. Let's go for the next fight here. It is Lucas Almeida against Danny Silva.
All right, this one should be pretty fun. Also, my pick here is going to be Danny Silva because he mixes in his wrestling pretty well, and he's pretty aggressive, which I like against a guy like Almeida. He's a pretty good boxer as well. And Almeida is more patient with his striking, but he's very precise, I find. So Silva doesn't have the best striking defense, so I wouldn't stay on the feet too long with Almeida. We got to go with the guy's weakness, and we got to go with something we've been, pretty successful with lately, and that's the takedowns. So he's got to take down Almeida, but mix it up with that aggressiveness and the boxing, and I think he's going to come out with the win here by knockout or decision.
All right, man. Yeah, I definitely am in agreement with you here. I like Danny Silva in this one. Danny Silva, the younger fighter here at 28 years old. Lucas Almeida getting up there at 34. So we're looking at a 6-year age difference there. The height is the same here for both these guys. The reach is pretty much the same. But Danny Silva, I watched this guy's fights, man, looking really good. He's got some very good grappling and wrestling too. He gets very good takedowns, some good double leg takedowns. He's good with his trips and getting guys to the ground. Also very good at boxing. You can see that his style is boxing. So he has a very good boxing style. He's definitely going to throw more volume than Lucas Almeida on the feet. Get some very good punches in there. And again, he's also good on the ground. So I like Danny Silva to win this one by KO or decision. Lucas Almeida is also a very good fighter. He's also got 9 knockouts and 5 submissions. But one of the things I noticed about Lucas Almeida is he loses to guys that are able to get the fight to the ground.
Yes.
Pat Sabatini, that fight against him, he was taken down in that fight a lot. Pat Sabatini managed to get a submission on him. Also against Andre Fili, that's really not a good look, man. He actually got knocked out by Andre Fili, and we saw how poorly Andre Fili did in that last fight.
It's only not a good look to Destiny. You would have been talking about how great Andre Fili looked if he won, coming off a loss. You know what I'm saying?
So, and let's be honest here. Lucas Almeida, who's he really beaten, man? Timothy Kwamba in his last fight by unanimous decision. Michael Trezano, and before that, he was in the lower level promotions. So, Lucas Almeida has not really fought the better level of fighters, I don't find. He hasn't won against that many good fighters. But Danny Silva beat a good fighter in Josh Kulabawa, and got a split decision win over him. He's also coming off the regional scene as well. But again, 2 losses in the UFC for Lucas Almeida out of his last 4 fights. I think that
Fighting for his life.
yeah, I think Danny Silva's looking good in this one, man. I think he's going to come out with the win here. So I got him winning by KO or decision. As you can see, out of his 9 wins, 5 knockouts, 4 decisions. I think the KO decision is good here for him. All right. So we're in agreement with the 3 fights of the prelims so far, looking good. Let's move on up to this next one. All right, we got Andrea KGB Lee against JJ Aldrich, man. This is the fight that I was really wanting to not talk about.
Mark on your calendar.
This fight is absolutely horrible. This is going to be a horrible fight.
Come on now.
Both of these girls are absolutely horrific to watch. I mean, we're looking at Andrea Lee here at 36 years old, and she has lost five of her last five fights. She's on a five-fight losing streak, one after the other. It's insane. Um, Both of these girls are the same height, 5'5" to 5'6". Reach advantage for Andrea Lee by 2 inches. But Andrea Lee, man, like 13 wins, 10 losses. Like those losses come from somewhere. It's like she's almost even in wins and losses. It's unbelievable. Um,
This is a losing streak. It's not the losses come from somewhere, though. It's kind of like,
what I'm gonna say about this one, I'm gonna use some MMA math, and yes, the MMA math does count in a really garbage fight like this. Okay,
we'll
so
see. We'll see about that.
the last
Go
fight
ahead.
of Andrea Lee, okay, she lost to Montana De La Rosa by split decision. Okay,
Yeah.
JJ Aldrich fought Montana De La Rosa and beat her by unanimous decision.
Oh boy.
I am going to say right there that means something. That means that JJ Aldrich was fighting a girl in Montana De La Rosa that has very good grappling and good wrestling and submissions, and she was able to beat her unanimously. Andrea Lee is also kind of the same type of fighter who likes to get the fight to the ground and grapple and get her submissions and get the fight to the ground and use her wrestling. So I see JJ Aldrich beating her the same way that she beat Montana De La Rosa. So I'm going to go with JJ Aldrich to win by KO or decision. I think she outpoints Andrea Lee on the feet. I think she avoids getting taken down. I think JJ Aldrich can get some takedowns of her own. She's been working on her wrestling as well. She's very underrated when it comes to her grappling and wrestling. And you see that in this fight. Look, it's worth a dog shot. Like you, I know you're going for the dog shot here on Andrea Lee, but
Oh man, I can't not.
I
I can't
can't
not, man.
do it, man. Five losses in a row is too much for me. And JJ Aldrich, man, like I said, she's not good herself either, losing to Veronica Hardy in her last fight. But at
It's
least
terrible.
she did beat Montana De La Rosa and Na Liang by knockout. And she lost to some very good quality fighters, as in Adriana Lipski and Erin Blanchfield. Now, those are two very good fighters in the division. So I'm going to go with JJ Aldrich ever so slightly. I think this fight, anything can happen. They both suck. I don't think any of these guys are good, but Andrea Lee is on her way out the door, man.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, when I saw this fight first got posted up, I couldn't believe Andrea Lee was still here. I thought she got released for sure after that. Um, Aside from that, I gotta go with Andrea Lee here. Like I look at a JJ Aldrich, man, and she never really does anything particularly well. And like, okay, she used some takedowns against Na Liang, man. Na Liang has like a minute's worth of gas, and like I don't see her taking down Andrea Lee like that. I like Andrea Lee's stand-up style better against a stand-up style like JJ Aldrich. It's more Muay Thai and it's more like elbowy and it's more it's better in the clinch than what JJ Aldrich does or tries to do, which I think, look, I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty ugly. Both these girls aren't very good. But the thing I have to look at is Andrea Lee, man. She's lost to some good opposition here, and she had split decisions. Okay, against yeah, she had split decisions against Montana De La Rosa, like you just mentioned. Miranda Maverick, pretty good. Natalia Silva is the only one that really battered her, right? Out of them. Macy Barber, split decision again. I think she should have won that fight, but it was the Macy Barber bandwagon at the time. And Viviane Arroyo, a loss as well, could have won that fight. So we're looking at girls she could have beaten here within those losses in that losing streak. It's not like she fell completely off a cliff and you could never see her beating anyone else again, like Tony Ferguson, for instance, right? Although we do pay attention to like great fighters when they fall off, but still, 6 fights in a row is a lot for losses, and I don't think she's gonna get there, man. I think she wins this one by decision. or hey man, she's more dangerous at subs too. I wouldn't be. I'm not going to call anything. I'm just going to say dog or pass on this one. Andrea Lee, baby.
All right, we're not in agreement with this one here for the first fight of the prelims that we disagree. Again, this is a fight that I really am not looking forward to seeing. And yeah,
Needless to say, like no confidence.
yeah, seriously, man. All
Yeah.
right, so let's move on up to the next fight here. This is a fight that we want to see here, which is going to be Douglas Silva de Andrade against John Castaneda. I'm going with John Castaneda, sexy Mexi in this one. Douglas Silva de Andrade just getting too old, man. He's at 39 years old, almost 40 here. He's taken a lot of damage in his career. And John Castaneda, at 33 years old, 6 years younger. The height and reach advantage is the same for both these guys, pretty much. Nothing different there, except for Castaneda will have a 2.5 inch reach advantage. And I like Castaneda because he's very fast.
Who's going to have the reach advantage in this one?
Castaneda, he's going to have a 2.5 inch reach advantage there. But I mean, the heights, they're pretty much the same, 5'6", 5'7". But Castaneda is very fast on the feet. I like his boxing. He boxes very well. He's very, very good at everything. He can take you down. He's got very good double legs and single legs. He's very good at taking down, good offensive wrestling and takedowns. Douglas Silva de Andrade is just built like a tank, man. He is a super, really in really great shape. But the thing is that he's just not as good as he used to be, and his gas tank has been showing to be slowing down in the later rounds. Some MMA math to talk about in this one here. I do have to consider it. Douglas Silva de Andrade losing to Miles Johns in his last fight by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that fight a little bit.
And Castaneda beating Miles Johns by submission a while back when Miles Johns was even better than he is now. He managed to latch in a submission at that time. So I like John Castaneda a lot in this one. Another thing to note is that Silva de Andrade has been losing to guys who can wrestle and grapple well, such as Miles Johns and also Said Nurmagomedov. Was able to take him down several times in that fight. So I can see John Castaneda getting a lot of takedowns, getting some ground and pound and some control. He just has to avoid the submissions attempts from Silva. He tries to sub sometimes, and he has to avoid some of his wild looping punches and Douglas Andrade's wild right and left hooks that he throws. He has to avoid that, and I think he'll be good. So I'm going to go with John Castaneda to win here. I think he wins by decision. Douglas Silva de Andrade is a tough motherfucker. He rarely gets finished. I think this will go to decision, man. So I'm going to go John Castaneda decision.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit with one of those big overhand rights there by
That's what I was looking for, the overhand punches that he throws there.
yeah, and yeah, the age is starting to catch up with him. He's not as good defending the takedowns as he used to be. I don't think De Andrade is. And yeah, man, this fight is going to be based on how fast and how often will Castaneda want to wrestle. Because if he does that, I think his chances to win go up exponentially. And as well, I think it's possible that he can even catch him on the feet too, because he does have some like niftiness with his boxing on the feet. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Castaneda here, the younger guy, the guy that will have more endurance, I think. And well, yeah, well, about that Miles Johns fight, like I've never been the biggest Miles Johns fan, but he's all right. But the thing is, I find him very predictable, and I had DeAndrade to beat Miles Johns in that fight. But DeAndrade is even more predictable in the way he fights than Miles Johns is. And I think that's going to be part of his downfall in this fight. So give me Castaneda by knockout or sub. I'm going to go with finish on this one.
A very tough guy to finish, but we'll see.
True, but he is getting up there, and he's not unfinishable. He's not like Marab, unknockoutable.
True. I mean, he's lost one knockout, one sub. I mean, yeah, when he gets tired in the later rounds, it's possible for sure.
I'm not saying I'm going to bet that, but I'm just calling that for this fight.
All right. Well, we're in agreement with this one. So far, we're in agreement with 5 fights so far. No, sorry, 4 fights so far. We just disagreed on one, which was the really terrible fight between JJ Aldrich and Andrea Lee. So the main event of the prelims coming up next year, guys. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We've got Ricardo Ramos against Jose Mariscal.
Yeah, here, I don't know if you guys notice a line on this one, but it's absolutely crazy and it's probably going to get higher. Obviously, Chepe's the favorite here. I don't think the line should be this high, but I'm definitely going with Chepe on this one. It's a step down for him in competition. The only way Ramos is going to win this one is with his grappling, and he's probably going to have to find a sub finish. But I don't think he has the strength to get and keep Mariscal down there. I think Chepe's a lot better on the feet. He has good power, and I think he's probably going to end up knocking out Ramos. The thing with Chepe, man, though, I look for times to bet against him because of the amount of damage he's taken, not only in the UFC but before, and the fights this guy's had before against very quality opposition before he even got to the UFC. For a young guy at that, right? So to me, it's always like, when will he fall off? When will the damage just be too much? But that I don't think that's going to be happening with Ricardo Ramos. And so give me Chepe by knockout or decision.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too much time on this one. I got to go with Chepe, Machine Gun Mariscal. I mean, this guy is just relentless when it comes to his grappling and his wrestling abilities, man. The guy is absolutely relentless with it. He takes you down, stays on top, gets control time, and then if you get up, he takes you down again. He takes you down again, and he drags you, and he drains you, and he just drains your energy. I think he's going to break Ricardo Ramos. Ricardo Ramos really not looking good. Lost 3 out of his last 5 fights, losing to Julian Erosa by submission, gets subbed by Charles Jourdain, and losing a unanimous decision to Zubaira Tukagov. So it's like he's not having an easy time with guys that can take him down. And Chepe, that's all he does is take you down. So
Chepe likes to bang it up on the feet,
I
man.
know, bang it up on the feet too, for sure. But I'm saying that his key to victory here is the takedowns for Chepe. That's where he's gonna definitely have the advantage over Ricardo Ramos there. The only way I can see Ricardo Ramos is if he catches Chepe with a crazy clean punch, which I doubt will happen. Both of these guys have the same records of 17 wins and 6 losses. There is a height discrepancy, though. Ricardo will be 3 inches taller. And so that's the reason why I also think that Chepe will use the ground game more than punching. And also he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage for Ricardo Ramos. So I definitely see Jose using his grappling more in this fight. He will definitely strike as well, but the striking will come from the ground and pound when he takes down Ricardo, and then he'll start landing in those strikes and ground and pounding on him. I like Jose Mariscal to win by KO or decision. Chepe all day, baby. So there you have it. We were in agreement with 5 out of the 6 fights, folks. Really good. And the only fight we disagreed on is a 50-50 fight that it's almost a 1-900 gambler fight on those 2 girls that suck. Hey,
and really a dogger pass.
Exactly. So there you have it, folks. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned. Coming up next are early predictions for the main card. Peace out. KAMMA.